analysis, sentence pattern 3. Today we are going to study how a colon can introduce a complete clause. We've already learned other ways a colon can introduce something. First, to introduce a list, then to introduce an appositive. Now we're going to use it to introduce an explanatory statement. Look at the 3 sentences below. What is each colon introducing? As you can tell, the first colon introduces an appositive, a noun, shopping. The second sentence introduces a list, shopping, shopping, and shopping. And the third sentence introduces a complete clause, a standalone sentence. She loves to shop at the pet store for cute outfits for her pet chihuahua, Pookie. Now, when do we use sentence pattern 3? You're going to pause the recording and read over page 18 of your text. Start the recording again when you have finished. Now let's look at the examples together. Notice that if you cover up the colon, you will have a complete sentence on either side. Unlike a semicolon, though, which does the same thing, the second clause after a colon must clarify the first clause. Read through the rest of the examples on page 19 and identify how the second clause clarifies the first. Advance the recording when you have finished. Now, as you read pattern 1, the semicolon is not to be confused with pattern 3, the colon. The key to it is to identify what role the second clause plays. It plays 3 roles. It either will answer an implied question, provide an example, or give further explanation. Let's see how that looks in our exercises. First, go to exercise 2 on page 21. The first clause asks for the second clause to further explain just why Japan is a genuine threat. Look at the example below. Is this sentence pattern 3? Not really. It's closely related, but it doesn't explain why it's a threat to American industries, just consumers. Now, here's an example of sentence pattern 3. Notice, after the colon, the sentence explains why it's a threat to American industries. And look at the last sentence. This is where we would use a semicolon. It's very closely related, but again, it's not explaining the genuine threat, so it doesn't justify a colon. Now let's look at another exercise, sentence number 3. As you can tell, this sentence asks for the clause following the colon to give an example, a one-way, not to clean out a radiator. Look at the example below. Is this sentence pattern 3? Yes. This is sentence pattern 3. Notice that after the colon, do not pour maple syrup into the main valve and run the engine, is giving an example of one way not to clean out a radiator. Now, notice that this first sentence is a good example of how to use a semicolon. It's closely related, it's just not explaining that one way. Let's try one more exercise together. Sentence number 4. This sentence asks for the clause after the colon to answer an implied question, why the bodybuilder left. Look at the sentence below. Is this an example of sentence pattern 4? is an example of a clause that answers the implied question why she had to leave. Her steroid test came back positive. Now, make sure that you practice those exercises on your own, and when you feel confident, it's time to create your own index card. Because you will be integrating these patterns into your own writing, you need to create an index card that records the information below. This information appears in your text in the same order. Now remember, every time that we write an essay, whether out of class or in class, you will be expected to use these patterns in your writing, and you get to use your index card to help you do so. Now notice the front of your card needs to record the sentence pattern, needs to define it, needs to say when you need to use it. The back of your card is where you list your favorite professional example, you list your best sentence, and most importantly, you record the checkpoints you need to remember so that you use the colon correctly. Probably the most important checkpoint is to write down the 3 ways that the second clause explains the first clause. Now when you finish your index card, make sure that you have those 5 sentences of your own created. As always, our 5 sentences are 20 words long. All sentences are on the same topic, and they are always error-free. Great. Have fun using sentence pattern